Hello and welcome to The Build Up. This is the podcast for marketing in the construction industry. I'm Dan, the creative director at Dissident. We've been working with construction brands for a number of years. It's an exciting and rapidly evolving industry, and that's why we created a podcast dedicated to the weird and wonderful world of construction marketing. I'll be speaking to leading brands, other agencies, creatives, influencers and startups. This is the resource I wish we had when we first started out in the industry. Thank you for being here and welcome to The Build Up. Welcome to The Build Up. I'm Dan, the creative director at Dissident. We are a social-first creative agency working with construction brands to create hard-hitting social media marketing and content. And we're live today at the Thomas Dudley stand at the Installer Show, and I'm joined with the marketing manager of Thomas Dudley, Mark Morris. Thank you so much for hosting.
Hi Dan, no worries. I'm glad to have you here on the stand. It's been a busy few days so far, absolutely manic.
And the stand's looking amazing, which is great, and it's packed. I don't know what you can hear in the background, but it's absolutely rammed. First of all, Emma, can we get a little noise for Mark Morris, please, everybody? Woo! Yeah, Mark Morris! Woo!
Thank you.
Thank you. Literally, all the Dissident team were just looking at me, just not engaging with that at all. Thank you so much, guys.
That's my fan club.
On that note, can you give us an introduction to yourself, Mark, what you do, and a bit about Thomas Dudley?
Yeah, I'm Mark Morris. I'm the marketing manager for Thomas Dudley Plumbing Products. Look after all things marketing, from printing a brochure right the way through to planning and executing exhibitions to sending products into space.
Love it.
So, yeah, absolutely everything we'll do, no problem.
And in terms of Thomas Dudley, can you kind of summarise what Thomas Dudley does as the brand?
Yeah, Thomas Dudley has been around about 110 odd years. It's a mixture of a few different companies, a few different products it makes. So it owns its own foundry, which was the original business. Make drain covers. It can also do things like cat's eyes to the road. Pretty much anything kind of castings it'll do. And then we have the plumbing products division that makes anything inside and outside the toilet system, flush valves, siphons, brassware, anything like that. And then we've got another company called Rugby Plastics that makes things like stadium football seats,
yes,
things like that. And
cool.
Water fit. It makes pipes under the ground. So yeah, we pretty much full service we can do.
Real mixed bag of different stuff. Am I right in saying you guys have done or do the Monopoly pieces as well?
Yeah, we have done. Yeah, so one of our divisions makes the small little Monopoly pieces. Yeah, it's really cool.
But best known to plumbers for plumbing products.
Yes, we are. Yeah, everyone in the plumbing industry has heard of Thomas Dudley.
I mean, so Thomas Dudley's an interesting one, and I suppose this can go for a few different brands, but there are plumbers and installers over the UK that they are massive Thomas Dudley fans. Like they are Thomas Dudley through and through. If there's a thing that they need to change or if there's a problem that they need to fix, they're going straight to Thomas Dudley. Can you try and extrapolate that? Like how does that work? Is it and what's Thomas Dudley done to kind of encourage that? Do you think?
I think our products are reliable. Well, first of all, they're made in Britain. They're made here, so people really put a bit of a premium on that.
Yes.
So you can buy products from abroad. You can do that. But a lot of our plumbers who buy our products, they value that and say, okay, I'm helping to support the British industry and the local industry as well. These people, we actually are called Thomas Dudley and we're based in Dudley.
In Dudley, yeah.
Yeah, and so...
Is that a happy accident, by the way?
It is a happy accident,
okay, cool.
Yeah. I like to think there's something more romantic involved in it, but there isn't. It's just, to be fair, whether the original owner sort of walked past and went, that's Dudley, I'm going to settle in Dudley, why not?
Why not?
So it is a bit of a happy coincidence. But when you buy one of our products, our customers know they're helping to support the people on the shop floor in Dudley, the local area and the wider economy. And also they're reliable.
Yes.
And if there's any problems, they can pick up the phone to us. We're there and we answer the phone. And you can't. It's difficult for people to, if they're struggling to get a hold of somebody and their customer service is terrible. That says a lot about a company. Our customer service always gets very high ratings, and plumbers, merchant customers, they all really like dealing with us.
That's really cool. I mean, I've had a tour of the factory a couple of times, and it's really, really impressive. And it's true. It is literally like, for a lot of businesses, you think, okay, can I have a tour around your factory, but it's kind of a distribution warehouse or something like that.
Yeah.
There is people making stuff on machines all over the place.
There is, yeah.
There's obviously there's moldings coming off everywhere. Whole like sort of production lines of people doing all sorts of intricate bits and bobs and robots and all that kind of thing.
And there's a we like thinking there's a family feel to it. And a lot of that is because a lot of them are related to each other. There's parents, kids. There's 2 or 3 generations all working in there at the same time. And so it's like a family business for them.
I almost imagine, I don't think this is the case, but I always imagine the sort of water mills that sprung up, and then the owners would kind of create almost like the surrounding areas for like the workers and stuff.
Like Bourneville Trust sort of does that sort of thing. Yeah, I think we're not quite that thing, but the company does an awful lot for its employees. Every Christmas it'll buy loads of pantomime seats at Wolverhampton Civic, Wolverhampton Grand. And it's done. It buys cinema tickets every week, so you can take your family to the cinema, and they'll do that all the time.
Yeah,
hundreds at a time. So it does a lot more than some people think a business would do. Our company does it bigger and better that way, and it does it without fanfare as well.
Yes,
it just sees that's important to it to do. Look after your employees, and that's what the company does.
And when it comes to like acquiring like sort of new customers, do you think that's a generational thing? Is there, because it's been around for so long, do you think it's the thing where if you've got perhaps an apprentice that's kind of coming up, and the person that they're learning from is a Thomas Dudley guy, do you think it's just that kind of passion that gets passed along?
Yeah, I think so. We know in the past that a lot of our we did a bit of research, and some of our customers were a bit older.
Yes.
We've engaged. We've tried to engage. I'm not exactly Mr. Young and trendy myself, but we try to engage with product ambassadors who are social media influencers within the plumbing trade. And they're very big fans of Thomas Dudley, and so their enthusiasm and their passion comes across to the younger generation. And so we've gone into colleges where plumbing's been taught, and we'll give them free product to trial and test. We'll give them posters and explanation guides and training in how the products work, things that they wouldn't normally get. We go in and do. So that then helps them when they come out of a college course and go into the real world. They then start to recognise our products, and that's how you continually gain that brand identity. It's not easy because there are lots of choice out there.
Yes.
And that's why we want to try and sing the benefits of our our products. The made in Britain, the quality, the reliability, things like that. Because one of the worst things for a plumber is a callback.
Yes.
And because it makes sure that job they did was a waste of money.
Yes.
So they know when they put one of our products in there, it's not going to fail. They're not going to get called back.
Yes.
And that you can't put a price on that for a plumber, because it's all about reputation, and reputational damage for a plumber. Because if one of our products fails, it's the plumber's reputation that suffers.
Yes.
They might moan to us, but it's their reputation that suffers.
Yeah.
So we try to do everything we can to make sure that doesn't happen, because we understand how. The reputation for a plumber is all important.
Absolutely, yeah, that's massive. And obviously, if that suffers, they're going to start thinking, well, maybe I should install something else.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And in that, we don't want that, so we work very hard to try and make sure that doesn't happen.
Yeah, wicked. I love that. It's a really cool story. Thomas Dudley, then, in terms of marketing, you're the marketing manager. Is there something that you guys are doing that's kind of interesting and unique to, not necessarily unique, but more unique compared to your competitors? Like, what are the kind of things that you guys are doing that's kind of a bit different, or at least it's working?
Well, we try to make sure that we keep changing every year.
Yes.
And there's that joke of someone saying, I've been in the job 20 years, I've got 20 years experience. And someone said, no, you've got 1 year experience, you've repeated 20 times. We try and make sure we don't do that. We're always looking for what's new, what's coming along next, what can we engage with, which is why we talk to companies like yourselves, so we can say, okay, what's new and on the horizon, what's going to keep us looking fresh. So we don't just repeat. It's okay, let's do something different. When we come to this installer show, we try and do something different. How do we engage with our customers in a different way than we did last year? So that helps keep us fresh in the minds, and people think, they're continually moving and continually innovating.
That wasn't me just fishing, by the way, for a shout out to Dissident for doing all their cool videos and stuff like that. It's just I just want to put that out there. That was of his own volition. When it comes to things like social media, I mean, actually, let's take it a further step back, because you're the marketing manager. Obviously, managers manage people and manage processes and situations and stuff like that. What kind of stuff have you guys brought in terms of people, channels, new. Obviously, you're doing crazy stuff at the installer show and things like that. What kind of stuff have you kind of brought in as a marketing manager that's helps you massively?
Well, when I first came in, we used we used Trello. It's really well known, but it helps us manage all our activities.
Yes.
So we all know, and all of our team members, we know where we are and what we're working on.
Yeah.
So we can all jump in and out of each other's work if we need to. So that helps keep things sort of moving, so we don't stall.
Yes.
And it's all about making sure you finish projects.
Yes.
Is all important, because it's great. People. There's a lot of great starters out there.
Yeah.
They'll start something off, get bored, and then give up on it.
Yeah, I know some starters. Look at him. He's not even paying attention. Look at him. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. Yeah.
Typical,
I know some starters that don't finish projects and move on to other stuff.
But for us, we can't afford to do that.
No.
We have got to make sure that we finish everything that we start.
Yes.
And that helps it keeps our reputation as a department that delivers going. And we've just got to keep moving. And we all look, where can we engage differently?
Yes.
Where can we bring our influence on things? Keeping the brand identity tight, moving things. Yeah, it's all about trying to stay fresh in a world where trends move very fast.
Yes.
What social media channel should we engage with? What messages are out there, and it's difficult. It's a continual job. I mean, people do. I hosted some podcasts that
Yes.
you guys put on for us, and I never hosted a podcast before.
Which you did very well, by the way.
Well, that's it. I got a lot of respect now for people who host podcasts because, waiting for a conversation and looking like it's going to die off and knowing when to jump in and keep it moving, that's an art unto itself.
It's almost like being a disco DJ or something like that.
You know what I mean? And I never really appreciated that, but now you think, wow, that's a tough job, tough gig, and even social media influencers. Okay, we all sort of roll our eyes a little bit, but that's a full-time job to keep that moving and keep it all fresh and new. So even within a marketing, as with a business to business, you've got to keep that moving fresh. You've got to keep the new content coming. You've got to look at what social media channels, what communication channels you're going to use. And you don't forget the ones that work. Email marketing is a great tool and it works really well in the business-to-business world. So you can't ignore that while you're looking at something else. No. So it's all about keeping it fresh and keeping things moving.
Absolutely. And so when it comes to things like social media, which is kind of like our the stuff that we're always interested in. Obviously, that's only one sort of channel in a series of other channels of marketing. When it comes to social media, I'm always interested because you guys sell purely through distribution. Am I right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Not a great deal straight to consumer. How do you split your marketing efforts, and do you do that sort of by channel? Because I imagine you're marketing to an end user in the hopes that they go to one of your retailers and buy a product, and then you're hoping to actually bring on more retailers, right?
It is. It's all about push and pull.
Yeah.
We want to influence the plumber at the other end to walk into a merchant and ask for our product. Yeah. We also then want to push our products through to the merchants so that they'll stock it on the shelves. So it'd be great if we could just advertise to the business to consumer.
Yes.
Because we've just got one market to influence within a broader market. But we've actually got two very distinct ones because a consumer or a plumber in this instance or an installer, their needs and wants are very different to what a merchant's needs and wants are. So we've got to make sure we tailor our messages to the merchants in a very different way that we tailor it to the end user plumbers or DIYers.
Yes.
So they can understand the benefits.
And then do you typically split that sort of by sort of platforms? So let's say, things like TikTok and Instagram, they're probably going to go to your retailers and stuff at some stage, aren't they? But I imagine you're focusing more on the end user and engaging with those guys. Yeah. Things like LinkedIn and stuff. Do you have like a switch up of this sort of strategy?
Yeah, we look at LinkedIn as a bit more detailed.
Yeah.
So we carry a lot longer posts, different type of messages, whereas on social media, short and sharp.
Yes.
Short, sharp, and repeat. Especially if you're looking at someone like Twitter, for instance, it's you might send a tweet out. But, sending it once ain't really going to benefit you. You have to send it 3 or 4 times, so you can schedule it to go so that it just continues. People will hit the message at some point because it comes off your feed very fast. And I think I saw a stat somewhere that you've got 0.2 of a second to catch somebody scrolling.
Yeah.
So someone's scrolling for social media, 0.2 of a second to catch their interest or they'll scroll past.
You've got to get your hook spot on.
And that's why, when you're tailoring a message or a video or whatever it might be, it's very different on social media knowing that they're scrolling than it is if you're doing something maybe on a longer one on LinkedIn that people are going to stop and look at. Because when they're scrolling through on either YouTube Shorts or whatever it might be, you've got to almost tell the entire story in less than 0.2 of a second.
Yes.
And that's very hard.
Yeah.
Just something different. How am I going to stop someone scrolling past? Because we all do it. We all scroll. Oh, that's interesting. What was that? No, scroll.
Yeah.
The video works really well for that, but it's got to be, that initial little bit of a second you've got has got to be really good.
Yeah, you can't sort of start it on like a title screen or something like that. You know what I mean? You go straight into
it.
Yeah. Yeah, the days of kind of like slow and steady films on social media. Some of them will work, obviously, but it kind of depends on your platform, on your brand and stuff like that. So we talked about like how you guys do stuff a little bit differently. Everyone's got their own kind of unique flavor and approach to marketing. And again, it's always changing, isn't it? It's always developing. But you guys did something really cool recently, and something that I hadn't really seen before, certainly in this industry, where you sent one of your products up into space.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Can you talk us through kind of what that was like?
I've been wanting to send someone into space for quite a while. I guess we're very excited. I'm always a big space nerd, really, and. Well, our new product, the Quantum, it actually looks a bit like a rocket.
Yeah, it does.
So, I went and I spoke to the board and said, look, we got a great product here. We think we can send it up into space. It looks like a rocket, and we could get some good marketing out of it. And they're all like, oh, cool, that's a great idea. So we contacted a company out there who does it all, because obviously they've got to get permission from air traffic control, all that kind of stuff, because it goes up very high. And so they built a little mini capsule for it, sent it up, and then chased it down and got it back.
Amazing.
So some of the footage, which I'm sure you'll probably have to see, it just looks absolutely stunning.
It looks wicked.
Yeah. See our Quantum against the curve of the Earth, just something else that is.
And how they do it? Is it just a massive balloon?
It's not a massive balloon because it's filled with, I think it's helium, maybe. I'm not 100% sure. But so it starts off small, and as it goes up into the atmosphere, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger because of the pressure changes and how that gas works under low pressure, until it gets to a point where it's so big it bursts.
Okay.
And then when it bursts, it comes down on a parachute.
Wicked.
So it gets about 125,000 feet. A jet will fly at about 40,000 max.
Yes.
So you're looking at 3 times as high as you fly when you're going on holiday. And that's how high up it goes.
That's nuts. How long does it take to actually get up there?
It's about 2 or 3 hours all in total to come back down. So we launched it from Derbyshire, and it came down in Lincolnshire. So they have a chase team that follows it around with a GPS in the car, and they follow it around, and then they go and dig it out of a farmer's field. Yeah. So I've got the footage of it landing in this farmer's field, and obviously they would then chase it around and go and climb over some fences and get it back.
Derbyshire to Lincolnshire's a fair old trek as well, isn't it?
It is, 2.5 hours for them,
That's mad. That's absolutely mad.
But it was exciting, and I loved every second of it.
Yeah. And so that was a project that was just like got your name all over it. Just I really fancy doing this.
And no one else has done it.
No.
And other companies like Barbie have sent one of theirs up. I think there's a whiskey company sent theirs up, but no one in this industry's done it. So again, we're the first. We're groundbreakers. So. And that's what we want to be, keep innovating.
And that campaign, is that launched yet? Or is there...
No, we're going to launch it after the show. So,
cool.
So this is a bit of a sneak preview of it, really.
Yeah. Well, we'll be editing this probably after the launch of that. So we'll kind of we'll see what that looks like. So if you haven't seen it, go and check it out. Thomas Dudley, get them all on socials, and you'll see the Quantum going up into space.
Yeah, it looks amazing.
Yeah. And then another thing which is kind of like slightly off script, you guys are really, really pushing for... water saving. So as well as trying to promote your products, and obviously pretty much any brand, if they've got some messaging, it's usually because they've got a product which can help in this kind of situation. But can you talk us through kind of like the saving water kind of thing that you guys have been? It's been a few years you've been pushing for this.
It is, I mean, prior to about 2001, every toilet had to be fitted with a siphon.
Yeah.
And siphons by design don't leak.
Yes.
So after 2001, the government legislated that they wanted to be more like Europe.
Okay.
So for the first time ever, they let flush valves into the country. And flush valves, by their design, leak after a bit of time. The seal gets all gummed up, or whatever it might be, it will leak. And the government knew this when they brought this change in legislation in.
Yeah.
But their logic was that people would get the toilet fixed, so it wouldn't be that much of a problem.
Yes.
But people are people, and that doesn't generally happen. So now the stats say anywhere between 1.5 and 2 million toilets are leaking in the UK every day. Now, that's enough water, fresh drinking water, going down the toilet to fill about 4 million baths of water every day. Now, we talk about a water shortage. If everybody was to switch back to a siphon, you would save 4 million bathfuls of water every single day in lost drinking water.
And that certainly helped towards like the hosepipe bans when it's really hot and all that kind of thing.
If you think about some of the areas in the country are already in drought conditions, and they've all got leaking toilets in those areas, and they're wasting water. It's just I mean, it's a no-brainer of a problem solve. So, what we found is a lot of people don't really know the difference. You wouldn't know whether your toilet had a valve or a siphon in it. So just a quick one. If you walk up to it and there's a handle, it'll be a siphon.
Yes.
If it's a button, it'll be a valve.
Okay.
Now, over time, people have actually liked the idea of having a button because it looks nice and you can have it where you want, which would mean that they're going to have a valve.
Okay.
Now, to get over that problem of the leaking valve with a button, the company spent about 15 years developing the Quantum, because trying to get the technology right in this product,
yes,
so that it can be. So it's basically a siphon that can be activated by pressing a button.
Amazing.
All new technology, so that it gives the leak-free benefits of a siphon, with the aesthetically pleasing elements of yes, you can have a button.
Yes.
And so we're developing further models as we go along in order to make it better as you do.
Yeah.
But yeah, if everyone was to switch over to a Quantum with a button,
yeah,
you'd save this problem. You still have a nice button, and you would save all that water.
And so, first of all, really, really clever product design, because you've got a situation where you've got a load of people that want a button, but they don't care. They just want the button to flush. They don't know that there's a problem. They don't know.
And most people don't care what's on the inside. I have no idea.
Yeah.
It pushes, but it does what it does.
Yes.
It flushes the toilet. That's all they're interested in.
Well, you guys have come out with a product which has got which allows them to have a toilet with a push button, which if they prefer that as opposed to a handle, then that's great. But you guys can educate the plumbers who are installing those, if they are, that because they can be like, well, this is the one to go for, because you don't have any problems with this for years, as opposed to a valve where potentially it could break in a really short space.
It could, and it will. All valves will leak over time.
Yes.
Just whether it's tomorrow, next day, in a year's time, but it will leak over time. And some people are a bit lazy. It's leaking a little bit down the back of the toilet. You might not notice it to start, and it just gets worse and worse and worse as it goes. And it's like, as one of our friends said one day, you wouldn't leave a tap running all day. So why would you leave your toilet running all day?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a huge amount of water to be lost.
And the thing is, it probably is a big thing for a lot of people, is that out of sight, out of mind, right?
Yeah.
You close that toilet lid, you ain't got to worry about it.
Well, if you think about it, in the past, they used to have because a lot of the products now, like the valves and stuff, have an internal overflow.
Yes.
So it leaks down into the toilet. Previously, we used to have the outfeed that used to go outside the house.
Yes.
So if the toilet was leaking like that, it was overfilling, for instance, it would leak outside your house and down your wall.
Yeah.
And that would stain your wall, and you would see it that, I need to get that fixed.
Yes.
Because it's leaking down inside the toilet, you don't notice it for a while, and then when you do notice it, and you probably get it fixed when you're getting something else fixed.
Yes.
You might have a dodgy tap, and they might get the plumber out too. He says, "Oh, while you're there, in chance to have a look at the toilet."
Yes.
As long as it flushes a bit, people,
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, it still works. Yeah, I'll sort that out at some point.
I'll get done. Yeah.
It's not a necessity. So you guys, you created a product which solves that problem.
Yeah.
Both problems. So you can have a product which doesn't leak, which is a siphon, but also still continue to have the toilet that you prefer, which has got like a pushy button type thing.
Exactly right.
But then the marketing messaging kind of like throughout that was water saving.
Water saving.
So you're buying this product. Not only is it a cool product, you get to do all the stuff that you want to do with your bathroom, but you're also saving the planet.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, save water, save life. We all need it.
Yeah.
And we are running. We're running out in places, and we don't want to go into droughts. So it's a very simple fix.
Yes.
If everybody woke up tomorrow morning and went, you know what, I'm going to change out my valve for a siphon, and I'll just have a handle for now, you'll solve a huge amount of problems with leaking toilets.
I love it. And then, so how have you kind of pushed that sort of message across? For the audience, so we know how you guys have been doing all sorts of different sort of things within your marketing to push like water savings and stuff. Like, what's been the progression of that? Because it's been over a year or so, hasn't it?
Yeah, we get a lot of feedback. We just recently launched a new video, which you guys helped us do.
Yes.
Which really sort of put a lot of the stats together.
Yeah, educated the audience.
It's all about helping. This is how you can fix it, so you can tell if your toilet's leaking. This is how much is leaking.
Yeah.
We continually talk to it. Sometimes it's like pushing water bill in some places, because water's relatively cheap in this country, although it's starting to become more expensive. The more expensive it becomes, the more people are more interested in stopping the leaks.
It's like the price of milk. When that goes up, you're like, oh, okay, I'm starting to realise this.
And it's like petrol, isn't it? When petrol gets so high, you start to change the way that you drive a little bit and think, okay, I'm not going to drive it unless you're made to flat out all the time, So I'm going to try to be a little bit more economical with what I'm doing. And that's what probably will happen with water because the price is only going to go one way. Nothing ever goes down in price. So, you might be paying, say, X amount per litre of water at the moment. That'll probably be doubled in the next few years. And if you look at the investment the government's talking about, new reservoirs here and there, that's all going to have to be paid for either through direct or indirect taxes.
Yes, absolutely. And then, so going on from that, so you guys are doing a great job of promoting water savings through your communication and stuff like that. How are you guys driving traffic towards Thomas Dudley in terms of, can you give us an overview of the channels and the methods to get people talking or interested or seeing Thomas Dudley?
Yeah. Well, we use various ones. If you look at all the marketing tools that are available to us, we try and have a bit of I'll marketing speak now, a bit of a through the line sort of strategy where social media for the mass market.
Yes.
We've used radio advertising in the past, but not necessarily or works for us all the time. Email marketing in the business-to-business world is a very strong tool for us,
yes.
so we use that quite a lot. And we break our email marketing down into certain target audiences, then tailor the messages around those, and then we might send them through what we used to call a nurture. So, you might write an email and you might send it through to 1,000 people.
Yes.
And then you'll then set it so that if they don't open it, they might get it again in 5 days. If they don't open it, they'll get it again and again until we reach a certain point. We think, well, they're really not interested in this. And if they do open it, you might send them down another nurture that says, okay, you opened this, you were clearly interested in that link, so I'm going to send you a little bit more information on this product. And that's all set up automatically. So we build these, and then we can actually let them get on with it and do it. And then we monitor the results, and then we tweak them and tailor to make sure we get the messages right.
Yeah.
Similar to social media, we use a lot of Facebook advertising just to try and get in front of people. We look at all are looking at our AdWords. So we use a little bit of AdWords, but not too much. We're getting our SEO right on the websites.
Yeah, which is a black magic, isn't it?
It is, yeah. I mean, Google changes its algorithms all the time. So you've got a website that ranks highly, and all of a sudden it doesn't anymore.
Yeah, you get penalised for something that you didn't realise you weren't supposed to do.
It doesn't like double pages, doesn't like this, it doesn't like that. And, and I think they do it on purpose to try and encourage you to actually make some changes and to do something. So, so you've always got to be constantly looking at those. We do direct mail, so it might sound old-fashioned, but we still send stuff out in the post.
I love a lumpy mailer.
Yeah, we do brochures. So we try to do a lot of the tools to hit. And obviously with our, if you look at the however many P's there are now in your marketing mix anymore, public relations is one. You've always got to try and look at how do we interact with our customers a bit more. Your reputation, if that gets damaged, that can almost no way back for that for some time. So we're constantly looking at how you can engage with different people. We use our team of ambassadors.
Yes.
Who are all social media influencers who have an audience of their own. So, we only want ambassadors who actually believe and use our products.
The right avatars for the brand.
We don't want to pay or have anybody on board that is doing it just because they want to earn a little bit of money.
Yes.
Because that's no good to us because they'll do it for anybody. So we want, people come to us and say, look, I only use your products. I'll only ever use your products. I really a big believer in Thomas Dudley. They're the kind of people that we want as our ambassadors. Yeah. And that's the type of ambassadors that we've got. And people can feel their enthusiasm come through.
Yes.
And that says an awful lot that someone is willing to stake their reputation on our products.
Yes.
And that says a lot about them. It says a lot about us as well, about how good our products are.
That's massive. Yeah. It's huge that, when you're on the ambassador side of things, that these people, and because you can tell when they're genuine fans, can't you? They're all so passionate about the product, about the brand. And the thing about brands and businesses and products and stuff like that, up to a certain point, that we as business owners and people who work behind the scenes and stuff, we know we'll know that our product is better than a competitor's. Okay, we know the stats and we know all the figures and we know that this is made better. We know that it's made in the UK and stuff like that. Up to a certain point, the customer cares about that, but after a point, they don't care.
Yeah, it's all about using the tools correctly, and we know that. Our products aren't the cheapest on the market, but we believe they're the best.
Yes.
But that's not to say that there aren't other products out there that are good.
Yes.
I'm not going to knock any of our competitors' products, that they do a job.
Yeah.
So, all we're interested in is saying the benefits of ours. You want to buy our product because, it's, all the strengths we'll put against it. It's reliability, it's quality build, made in Britain, all those elements that will take you so far. But you're right, if you push the price up too high, people will start not to trust the value of it.
Yes.
But in the same way, you can't be cheap in a market. If you're promoting the quality and the reputation and the reliability of a product, you can't then turn around and say it's cheap.
No.
Because people won't trust that either.
No.
People are smart.
It's psychological, isn't it?
Yeah. You look and say, well, you're telling me it's got this, 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 and this, but it's only £1.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know
What's
what I'm
the
going to
catch?
get for that. And that's, and you know, we people aren't stupid. They understand what that means. So, you know, we talk about the quality of our products, and you know that has a little bit of a premium attached to it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
If you want to support the British industries, you want to support the British, the British workforce, then there is a little bit of a price comparison because, you know, we treat our employees well.
Yes.
We have certain regulations that we have to come up against. You know, whether it's environmental, whether it's British standards, whatever it might be. If you're buying a product that comes from China, you know, it might be an okay product, but you don't know how the employees have been treated where they're making it. You don't know how old they are, whether they're using child labour, whatever it might be.
Cutting corners, whatever.
Yeah, and you know, we've all seen some real shoddy practices in countries abroad.
Yes.
You know, and that's what you got to think about as well. You know, you're not just buying a product. Think about where it comes from.
Yeah.
How did it get here? How old was any child labour? You know, you could have been fitting a product that was made by a 5-year-old.
Yeah.
You know, you just don't know. But you buy a product that's got the Made in Britain stamp on it, and you know.
Yes.
You know what that means.
And that's part of your brand, right? You know that it's literally in the colours. You know the Union Jack, and it's all part of that brand. You know, and you know, as I mentioned, people expect a product to work regardless. Totally. After a certain point, you pay X amount of money. I expect this to be of a certain quality.
But it's interesting because if you take Ryanair as an example, right, the service you get from Ryanair isn't actually bad.
No.
But you go into it expecting it to be terrible.
Yeah.
And then people get off the plane the other end and go, you know what, that wasn't so bad. So they exceeded your expectations.
Yeah.
Because in your mind you're thinking, I'll be lucky if I get a seat on this plane because, you know, I'll be standing up because that's what in your mind, that's what Ryanair's like, you know. But actually, their service isn't that bad.
No.
And it's comparable on the budget that you pay. So their reputation is it's terrible. That most of the people's interactions with it is actually pretty good. Yeah. And that's the power of suggestive marketing, what it is. You know, Ryanair in the minds is cheap, and you know that's why you're moaning about going, is my bag too big, is a millimetre too wide, all this sort of the other. So they can keep their prices down. But actually when you're on the plane, you're still getting to where you're going, and it's still got the same qualified pilot, and the maintenance is still the same, and the plane's still in a good condition. Yeah. So it's all about how that actually works. So, you know, we will tell you that our products aren't the cheapest. Yeah. And, you know, we'll tell you why. Yeah. And it comes down to the mind of the customers in the end. It's like buying car insurance, isn't it? Yes. Some people, there'll be a portion of the public that will always buy the cheapest car insurance that they can find. Then there'll be the portions of people at the very end who don't mind spending ridiculous money because they can afford it. Most of us settle in the middle. Yeah. Like watch the catch. If they were the cheapest one, it's just like, am I actually going to get insured? I don't trust that, or will they be there when I need them? That's the only time you know if your insurance is any good. Yes. Is this if it's there when you need it? Yes. And that's when you realise, you know, that wasn't worth the money, you know, because it was absolutely terrible service or whatever, you know. So, you know, brands have brand strength for a reason, and usually that's reputation that will follow that around. And, you know, you can see around here where we've got all our, you know, some of our customer feedback, you know, how good our customer feedback is generally and how many people score us 5 out of 5. Yeah. That's it. I mean, it's the strength of the brand, it's the strength of the reputation. That's what will bring a brand through, even if they're competing against somebody who's got a very similar product at a very similar price point. Brand will always win that argument. That's what you've got to keep pushing. We've got to keep, you know, building the Thomas Dudley brand. Yes. Let people know what it means. Yeah. Because, you know, does everybody know what we do? No. It's our job to keep educating people. This is what Thomas Dudley means. This is what you get from us. This is why it costs that. This is the benefits of doing it. And that's what we've got to kind of keep doing. Love it. So I'm looking over there and seeing people messing around with the products on there now. I wish they wouldn't. Yeah. Someone's broken the quantum. That's the one that went into space. Leave it alone. That's the unbreakable quantum. Yeah, I've been in space and he's taking it apart. One final question for you, Mark, before we wrap it up, because I'm sure you've got lots of stuff to do, because we are mid-show. Any last words of wisdom for the audience when it comes to marketing? You know, anything that I haven't asked you that I should have asked you, or anything you can part with? Always have a plan in mind of what you're doing. And I'll say this, the most important thing you can do, especially, I mean, dealing with a company like yourselves, I'll say this. Great agencies and stuff, Keelan. Agencies, yeah. You need to have a very good brief.
Yes.
If you haven't got a brief written out what you want to achieve out of something, before you know it, you're very good at not doing this, is that the costs will skyrocket out of control and the project will go off in so many different directions that you will not be able to control it. Always write a very good brief at the beginning. Let your creative people operate within that box that you're writing out, but give them an overall. This is what we want to achieve.
Yeah.
This is roughly how much money I've got to spend, and these are the deliverables that I would like out of this. And then you come to an agreement, and then and my job is to manage that brief through, manage the agencies through it, and try and again, always be honest with the agencies. If you're working with agencies, and even if you've got designers in-house, always be honest with them. I'll talk to the agencies in a way that, and I'll say to people at the beginning, this is what I'm good at, and let people know. If you're expecting me to come back on time every time with information, you're going to be sorely disappointed. So you're going to need to bug me and hassle me and harass me, and feel free to do that in any way, shape or form that you see fit, because that's how I respond to things. So I'm honest, and I'll tell people I'm good at this and I'm terrible at that.
Yeah.
And that's what you've got to be with an agency or your own team. You've got to be honest with them.
Set the expectations.
So that when you write a brief out, you all know what you're working towards, and you know what you're going to deliver and when you're going to deliver it.
Yes.
Otherwise, the costs will go through the roof. You'll end up doing about 10 different drafts of whatever you wanted, and then nobody will be happy. And then everyone will point the fingers and blame everybody else for it. But it all starts from the very beginning. Your job, as in my job, is to write a very good brief about what I want. I'm not a designer. I don't design things. If I had to design something, you'd look at Dog's Dinner.
Yeah.
But I'm very good at writing a brief of what I want,
Yeah.
and I'll have ideas of what I want. And that's, if I was going to give a bit of advice to anybody, is know what a brief looks like and write it out. Some people will write a brief literally on the back of that and say, that's my brief.
A video.
And can you promote my business? That's what I want you. That's the video. I wrote a little bit on there. It's not good enough.
Nah.
Take a little bit of time, get the brief right, and you won't be disappointed with it.
I love that. It's really refreshing to hear because there are certain situations, and a lot of time can be saved in the creative process and in marketing just by setting the goals out right, getting on the right page. And as a creative agency and as creatives, we don't really like guesswork. We want freedom within a certain area of the creative process, because that's important to us. We don't want to be just button pushers. But when we have to guess stuff, because we're all ADHD and we've all got all sorts of situations where we just hesitate and all that kind of thing, it makes the creative process really, really difficult. So if you just set, this is what I want to achieve, this is who it's for, this is the budget, this is where it's going to go, these are the deliverables, which is a really good starting point.
I mean, whenever I deal with an agent, and I said the same things to yourselves, and I'll talk an honest one, and I'll say, you be honest with me, I'll be honest with you, and you want to call me a swear word because I'm not doing what you want, then you feel free to do that, and have that kind of relationship where you're not going to be offended by each other.
Yes.
Because at some point, I'm going to have to tell you I'm not happy with what you've done.
Yeah.
And creatives, you know who you are.
Yeah.
They get very offended when you criticise their work.
Like it. We don't like it.
Don't like, and it's, they think, well, they forget, some creators forget, that actually I'm paying for this, so I'll get what I want. Because creators think they know best.
Yeah.
So I'll always say, look, at some point, and it happens to every agency, I'm going to have to tell you I'm not happy with what you've done, because it's just either not good enough or you've gone down a hole that wasn't there.
Yeah.
So you've got to have that level of honesty with them, and that's why having the brief at the beginning helps. But just be completely honest with your agency. Otherwise, you'll get something you don't want, and then the agency won't be happy because you just won't use them again.
Yes.
And I won't be happy because I won't get the results I want. My boss won't be happy because I spent money and not delivered anything. Yeah. And one good example, if you haven't seen it, go and look on our YouTube channel at our water saving video. You guys did that. We wrote a brief and we said you can operate within that. This is what we'd like to achieve. These are the stats we'd like you to cover. You guys took that away and delivered on time, first time, exactly what we wanted. No reshoots. Yeah, no reshoots, no redoing it again. Perfect first time.
Yeah.
And that was an absolutely fantastic result. And we had a tight timeline for that.
Yes.
And it was delivered on time, actually early, everything that we wanted. And that came through the honest communication with each other and the briefing at the beginning of what we wanted to achieve. And that's my word of advice. And that gets overlooked because in the marketing courses I've done Chart of Industry Marketing. They don't teach you how to write a brief.
No. It's mad, isn't it?
They teach you how to do lots of things, But they don't teach you how to write a brief
Yeah.
at agency. But it's the one thing that can save you a whole lot of time and pain.
Yeah, absolutely. I think well, that's absolutely massive, and it's a great point to end on. I think brief writing is super important, but also I think you mentioned there, like just the relationships, having a great relationship, having a great line of communication, not bullying or scaring agencies or vice versa. Into feeling like they can't ask questions, like they can't, have a back and forth on an idea.
And not every idea that I have is going to be the best idea. I mean, of course, 99.99% of the time, my idea is going to be the best.
Absolutely.
But I have to also, you have to be ready for that criticism to say, I don't think that's going to work, or we think that's going to work better. Yeah. And never be afraid to take the advice of the people that you're paying the advice for. They're the experts in the end, not you. Not every time, but a lot of the time.
It's one of those, isn't it? When you're a party of one in your head, thinking about a thing, and you go, this is definitely going to work, and then but then actually when you bring that to a team and you go, I like that, but you probably not considered this because you've been like blinders on because you're like, I can't wait to do this thing.
That's it, yeah.
Have you thought about this? And you can make some tweaks and changes, and you can actually do what you want to do, but make it successful. Mark, thank you so much. First of all, for being on the build-up, but also for hosting the build-up.
Yeah, no, it's great.
We better let you go. But there's a bar just over there that's serving drinks, so that's why it's getting pretty lively now.
Yeah, cool.
Thank you so much, mate. I appreciate it.
No worries.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it.
Right. Boom. Yeah.